Hello and welcome to Draw Cartoons. Ensure you watch the entirety of today's video, like you should with all of my videos, to get the best tips that the skippers miss out on. Hit that like button and the subscribe button, as doing both really helps the channel, and hit that bell so you never miss a tutorial. Let's get started. So drawing noses can be pretty easy. It's just one feature of the face, but there are several different ways of actually going about it. You can draw a really small nose, you can draw a really big nose, and depending on the nose that you draw on your character, it can actually say an awful lot about them. So here I've drawn a bunch of faces that are kind of ready to go. I've just given them kind of a neutral kind of look. There's no mouth, as you've probably noticed, and that's because the mouth can actually depend on what the nose looks like on your cartoon character. So I'm going to start nice and simple. I'm going to start with a very basic nose on this one, and you might actually recognize this. I'm going to start with a big old circle like this. Let's make my pencil slightly bigger here. There we go. And that is a really classic kind of style of nose. It's just a simple oval like that. That's all it is. And you may have seen this kind of nose on Super Mario, for example. So I can draw a moustache just kind of underneath this, make it symmetrical thanks to that line of symmetry in the middle of the head that I drew first. Okay, and immediately we've got this Mario-esque nose, and you can customize it if you want as well. Because it's such a big kind of blob, you can really add some detail to it to make it more unique. So we can use this circle as a starting point to add some freckles. If you want to add some freckles, just some little dots on it or something, or maybe the character's a bit of a boozer, you could make the nose red if you want. We could also add a bridge of the nose going up here between the eyes if you want to. It gives the nose a bit of length, it makes it look less kind of small and buttony if you don't want that. You can definitely overdo details though, so you should definitely only add the ones that you're after at the time. But another customization in mind, you could add a plaster like this, give it a bit of a wonky angle as well. Don't draw it too straight because it'll lose a bit of character. If you draw it diagonally like that, it looks like it was kind of thrown on in a pinch really. And you can even add some nostrils here. You can add a couple of circles or semicircles really at the bottom of the nose. There you go, if you want to. That's pretty much optional in cartoons. Not every cartoon character actually has like nose holes to breathe through, so you can just kind of stick to a blob if you want. But the main point here is we started out with this very basic kind of circle right in the middle of the face, and we added all that to it. So that is a really good style of nose to draw if you're not entirely sure what to commit to, although I would recommend that this nose style is kept to male characters. Traditionally female characters, or more slimmer kind of characters, more feminine kind of characters, will very infrequently have a nose like this one. So this is a good kind of starter for a male character, particularly if they're a little bit overweight, or they're just kind of, they do whatever they want. They're kind of devil-may-care kind of person. Or maybe they're a bit jolly like Mario, who knows. Who knows? See what I did there? So we can start with that as a really kind of basic starting point and then move on. There's another much smaller nose we can do, and you might recognise this one as well. Bit of a triangle. Just like that, okay? And that is, again, that's used in a lot of cartoons. It's extremely basic. It's very it's used in so many different cartoons, but you might more recently recognise this from Animal Crossing. A lot of the humans in Animal Crossing have this very kind of basic triangular nose, and the great thing about it is you can change the shape of this, right? So you can have it there, but you can have it come all the way up here if you want. Have it look a lot longer, a lot more kind of pronounced. Or you could do the opposite and make it really tiny, like this. And that's, if it's that small, it's probably better on a younger character, like a child, and then longer, probably an older character with more experience in life, I guess. So the nose can say an awful lot about the character, as you can see here. So small implies, I suppose, youth or femininity, and big is masculinity or experience. So these are both a really kind of simple starting point. Just going to label that one simple. So these kind of noses will do kind of in a pinch when you don't really know what kind of nose to draw. And I'm going to move on. As we go along, we're going to get a little bit more complicated as we go along. So this one, I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. So you don't have to draw a nose with all sides kind of drawn in if the character's facing you. We can kind of cheat here. So I'll show you what I mean. We can draw a line down here, just off the center of the face, and then curve it out to one side and bring it back towards the middle. Okay? And you can even add a nostril here or something, maybe even add one here. So you can draw, even if the character's looking straight at us, which all of these faces are, you can still draw the nose a little bit to one side, and it won't look unnatural. And part of the reason why that works is because usually when we look at a face, there is a little bit more light on one side of the face than on the other. So this line acts kind of like a shadow, if you can imagine that. If I shade this in a little bit over here on this side, that line kind of implies that there's a shadow, so the light is coming from over here. So that's probably why that works, to be honest with you. Well, I'm going to get rid of those lines there because I don't really need them. But again, we can kind of customize this. You can add a little crease here, maybe another crease. Makes the nose look a bit, I guess, squishier. Again, we can add some freckles or something. You can even add the outside lobe of a nostril here, if you want to. There is such a thing as adding too much detail, especially to cartoons. So make these optional. You can add some or you can add all. It's entirely your drawing. Now before, I said something about how the nose can affect the shape of the mouth. So when you have a simple nose, you probably just want a simple mouth, right? So we're just going to draw a little one-sided smile on that one. Maybe I'll draw another smile on this one. So this smile is a little bit higher up the face. There's more space in this chin here. This smile is actually closer to the nose, because I like how the nose kind of seems to map to the corners of the mouth here. So for this one, we can draw kind of like a wacky mouth, okay? Because the nose has got a bit of a wacky shape to it. It's all kind of creased and squished up. So we can add like a kind of crazy mouth sitting underneath this. Keep it fairly close to the nose. Okay, and again, we'd probably have to reflect this in the eyes or something as well. Make the eyes uneven. One more closed than the other or something like that, if you can picture that. Okay, so the nose can really help express what a character is. I'm just going to get rid of that because it's a little bit unclear with the sketch underneath. But you guys get the point, you get the point. So moving on, we'll draw a really small kind of cute, simple nose. So we're going to start with a very small circle like this. Very small, very much like the nose we drew at the start. Very much like that one, but way smaller. Okay, and again between the eyes. And now we're going to put a bit more focus on the bottom side of the nose. So I'm just going to kind of draw this in a bit more firmly. Okay, and if you really want at this point, you can actually erase that top bit. We don't really need that anymore. Okay, and then we're going to add a nostril here and a nostril there. So we end up with this very small nose, a couple of small nostrils, and that's it. There's nothing really too assuming about this nose. It's very, very small, and this kind of nose is ideal on female characters or very kind of feminine characters, or even children. Small noses are definitely the kind of ideal shape for those sorts of characters, and again, you want to stick to the big ones for more grown-up or male characters. So there's another one for you, just kind of like a small, simple nose. Another simple nose we can do, just like this. Okay, there's no top. You just kind of add these three curves. Like that's quite wide. So again, because it's quite wide, it's probably more of a masculine nose. And you can draw the mouth quite close to that nose, really. I mean, really, you could draw it all the way down here if you wanted to. But see how that changes the expression. When the mouth is down there, he looks more kind of upset about something. But if we draw the mouth up here, he looks uncertain. It's funny how that changes. The distance between the mouth and the nose is pretty important. So another slim nose this time. So we'll come down the center and then poke it out to the side like that before returning to the center. So again, really, really simple. You'll see that kind of nose actually quite often in anime, of all things. You probably have less of this going on. So again, more customization. That line up there is very, very much optional. You don't have to do that. So another one we can draw. You might recognise this from cartoons as well, especially The Simpsons. Chief Wiggum has a nose like this. Okay, it's kind of like a pig. It's all kind of bunched up and upturned. So those nostrils aren't at the bottom anymore, they're pretty much at the front of the nose, because the nose is kind of upturned. I mean, if we put them at the bottom again, the nose just looks kind of chunky, looks kind of fat. But if we put which is fine, but if we put them here, it really exaggerates how kind of upturned that nose is, which is a really good look for cartoons. And again, you might want to add some creases here or something, make them look even more like a pig. I mean, this is ideal if you're literally just drawing a pig. So there's another one for you. And again, yeah, Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons has a nose like that. A few other cartoons have them. It generally seems to be background characters that have a nose like that, funnily enough. Now, we're going to go for a really kind of ridiculous one here. We're going to go for a really, really big one. We're going to go up here, and it's going to cross over the lines that create the eyes. And then we're going to just kind of draw one big bump out this way, then draw a huge bump down at the bottom, and then another one on this side. I mean, up with this absolutely enormous nose. It's very, very cartoony. Well, all of them are cartoony, but you know what I mean. And the advantage of having one quite this big is that it's very easy to add customizations. So, for example, you can add a little plaster on it. Maybe your character's had a bit of a knock. Okay, or you can add some pimples. Maybe it's a wicked witch or something like that. And the size of this nose is very good for adding mustaches under as well, so you get that kind of Groucho Marx sort of look to the nose and mustache. Kind of like a common disguise. You can even add the glasses here if you want to. Just kind of big square frames. I guess that's a really kind of huge example. And now we'll do a, not necessarily like a human one, but kind of like an animal one. So here we can just draw a triangle that's upside down, okay? Like this. So the point is at the bottom. And the top pretty much just goes straight from left to right. I give it a slight curve, just because it looks more natural. And simple as that. Just a little like an upside down triangle. A line underneath, you can even like curve it into a couple of lips. Add some whiskers, why not? Maybe some little fangs or something like that. Nice and easy. And now, moving on, we're going to go really over the top for this one. I'm going to make it all kind of wonky. Okay, really kind of crazy. Kind of like a tough guy nose. Maybe he's been in a few fights. Okay, so really exaggerated bumps. Like that. Probably like a rugby player sort of nose. Quite wide at the bottom as well. But the emphasis is on this, making it all kind of wacky and bent either side. And what would fit this one is big kind of angry eyebrows. So you see what I said earlier about the shape of the nose actually being a huge part of the character's expression, or also who the character is. You can even draw some lines down either side of the nostrils and build it into a bit of a grin here. Maybe some missing teeth. So again, we're going for that kind of ruffian look. Okay, but that's all kind of building from the nose. The nose is the central part to deciding these parts. So the nose is very important in showing what kind of character that you're drawing. And a relatively simple one to finish. We're going to start between the eyes, come down like this, end in a big kind of bulbous end like this, and curve it up at the end just there. And we can have a mouth that kind of points to one side as well, because the nose is pointing to one side, so we may as well have a mouth that's kind of following suit there. You can even draw a little line down there to show a bit of age in the character. And again, this is quite big, so you can add some pimples or something like that, small customizations. And so that's a whole bunch of, let's have a quick count here. We have 4, 7, we have 11 drawings here, if my math's right, of really kind of simple and easy, well, easy for the most part. This one's probably not that easy, and that one probably takes a few tries, but the rest of them are pretty easy to draw. And yeah, you can use these on any cartoons that you want. If you got this far, thanks for watching it all the way through, but I've actually got a challenge for you. Yes, for you. I'm going to draw an arrow that's pointing towards the viewer. If I do this right, there we go. Kind of 3D effect, pointing towards you.
I have a challenge for you. So, I would like you to draw this kind of face again, this circle with these eyes, and a mouth or ears, whatever you want, but leave the nose, and then draw the nose last, and I want you to draw a nose that's not like any of these. Completely invent a style to draw a nose. You can use these as kind of like a reference for ideas, but I want you to draw your own kind of style of nose, and it would be great if you share your drawings in the Discord channel, as always. There is a link down below in the description, so do throw your little drawings in there. But for now, that's going to be it for the video, so thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe as always, and hit that bell too so you don't miss any more future tutorials. And I guess that's it. Thanks guys, and I'll catch you next time. Is that some of our best work yet? Maybe, maybe. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Leave me a comment letting me know what you'd like me to draw next time. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you didn't already to get some more great tutorials just like this one. Until next time.